All right. Hey, y'all. We're just waiting for some people to come in. Then we'll get started. If they send out my notifications. And if you are listening to the replay, I will post when you could just jump ahead because I don't have any music, child. Ever since StreamYard got super pricey, I had cut that off. I think it was like last year. So there's no intro video. So we're just gonna have to do some good old fashioned waiting. But yeah, if you listen to the replay, I'll post that in the description about how far you can jump ahead. I am a little bit, I don't want to say I'm under the weather. I thought it was just allergies. But usually allergies go away after about a few minutes or so. I went to, sometimes we have chickens. So sometimes when I go to the chicken coop, if I don't have a mask on, like I end up having like a mini allergy attack. So I didn't do that this morning. So I think that might be what it is. But I took some Claritin. So I don't know, y'all. Hope I'm not getting sick because I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. Anywho, let's see if anybody comes in. Excuse me. It's been a while. So um, sometimes when you haven't been on in a while, YouTube does not send out notifications. So we'll see. But I have a few things I want to talk about today. Once we get a couple more people. Um, One of them I want to get out the way because I'm sick and tired of hearing the person's name and seeing stuff about them. So we'll tackle that first. Then we'll go into. I had this weird dream. That's kind of what inspired the last topic on the list, which is reflections on leaving the beef sector. I had this really weird dream, so I want to share that. And then, oh yeah, no, I want to talk about the fake rapture very briefly, very briefly. And then at the end, if we have time, I really want to get into what things have been like for me since leaving the beef sector and not pay attention to that content anymore. Yeah, so if you stick around, great. Yeah, so I'm sure lots of you guys have been bombarded with all kinds of stuff the last few weeks with news. And if you're in the States, as always, I want to say I'm thinking of you. Um, I pay attention to the news just about every day. I try to not get super consumed by it. Some days are easier than others. So, but anyway, my heart goes out to people living in the States. This is a very crazy, peculiar time. That could be a whole video within itself. But hang in there. Hang in there. Oh, child, what a mess. So we'll do a mini subject that was on the list to see if other people come in. So aside from that, excuse me, before we get into the Charlie Kirk stuff, as you would notice, if you're paying attention to any of this, some people totally decenter it as much as they can. William Cash Patel, crazy eye Cash Patel. After the person who we're going to talk about in the first topic passed away, he made a weird post. First of all, he's the FBI director. He's the whole director of the FBI. I don't even know who the FBI director was in the past because I don't feel like they had that type of presence. But this is the clownery of this regime. We're not going to call it administration, this regime, as people have been saying. Cash Patel gonna get online talk about some um I'm gonna meet you in Valhalla, or you're in Valhalla. First of all, Cash Patel, isn't Valhalla like Nordic warriors heaven? Let me take a sip here. Child, just a second. Ooh, child. I'm pretty sure it's like Viking. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's like Viking heaven or something like that. Cash Patel, isn't he's Indian, right? I don't understand. I don't understand how you could see him in Valhalla. Because that's cultural appropriation. You're not even going to Valhalla. Even if you wanted to, like that is a specific Odin rules over Valhalla. Child, it's so crazy. Like this stuff, this is just one of the few things that I see that's insane. That I'm like, are people watching this? Excuse me, are people paying attention to this nonsense? Like, when I saw that, I just shook my head. I said, Lord have mercy, this man's been watching too much Vikings or whatever them other shows are, because this don't make no damn sense. And I actually wonder if he is Indian, I'm wondering what do other people from his culture, like how do they view him? The way he's behaving when he says things like this, like it's so weird. And the other thing is, I feel like other than the fact that he's dumb as rocks, because most of the administration are, or the people in that regime are, I feel like Cash Patel is so dumb he didn't realize they propped his ass up there to be the fall guy when things go south. And they go next thing they're gonna be like, oh yeah, he's a he's a person of color. Oh, you knew he was gonna do a bad job. Child, no, they just keep hiring incompetent people. That's the problem. And they have the nerve to talk about DEI, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, like, y'all notice that like they set people up for the fall. And it's always somebody, he always has somebody like a random token in his administration, and they're just kind of like there. At this time, he put them in charge of the FBI, but I guess that does work in his favor because, excuse me, Dump is such a criminal. Like he's gonna need all the help he can get. So why not put them in charge of that agency? So, child, that's my joke about Cash Patel and Valhalla. Like that's a mess. Anyway, let's talk about Charlie Kirk. 1 second, let me grab this real quick. Now, there's only, according to my stats, there's only one person here. So, but I'm still gonna do this little disclaimer because people do watch the replay. Y'all, if you've been here for a while or you know me at all, you know that I don't mince words and I try to be honest as possible. I also try to be compassionate. I am a compassionate person, but I'm not one of those people who believe that when people die, they get deified. All the stuff that they said in the past somehow magically disappears and they become a saint, and we have to worship them and thing. I'm not one of those people. So this is just your warning. If you may be offended if you're new here, or if you expect that I'm going to be one of those fake ass people that's going to deify horrible people when they die. I don't do it. In fact, I remember when excuse me, this might offend you as well. When XXX Tentacion died, I did a video because I had did some research on him, right? I had said rest in peace initially, and then I did some research and found out he was out here R-rating people with knives. Yes, I said it. He was R-rating people with knives. And that was documented. He was very abusive to his girlfriend. It was horrible, horrible. So I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna be talking about this person as though I don't care how great they were at rapping. That's the type of person that I am. I don't believe in that. Now, I'm not gonna go out of my way to be rude or look up your family member and cuss your family member out. That's disrespectful. But I'm going to be honest. And some people got mad. I had a YouTuber say stuff about me, and I had people leave. Oh well, this is my space where I choose to speak my piece, and I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm gonna be honest. That's one of the things I want to keep with me is my honesty, but still have compassion while doing it where I can. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I heard of Charlie Kirk's name prior to his death, but I've never knew what he looked like. I never listened to him. He was just out there in the ether somewhere. So I heard his name. I don't even know if I could tell you that he was like right wing. That's how off my radar he was. Like this man, and he wasn't. And the other thing was I think he was like 31 years old. He is 11 years older than I am. And that man looks like he just looks old. Like it was crazy to me that he was like that's young. 31, that's young. So Charlie Kirk was at an event, I believe it was in Utah, and no, there's all kinds of stuff about him. He's super right wing. He's been shown to make various inflammatory comments, that said black people were doing better off in the 40s. That was during the Jim Crow era. I've seen him have discussions with people where somebody shared that they had a racist encounter and he said he didn't believe them, and then he gaslit them and explained it away. He says all kinds. There were so many things that were infuriating about the things that he said and done. He was a cauldron of hate. That was what I gathered from the clips that I saw. Excuse me. This man was a cauldron of hate. And I believe he was also a staunch gun advocate. My understanding is that somebody had asked him about the school shootings and different things, as it pertains to gun law. And I'm paraphrasing, but it sounds like he kind of said, well, some people have to die so we can have this amendment, to keep this amendment going. That he just had a very apathetic view on it. And so I find it ironic that that is how he died, was somebody shooting him. And so when I heard of this, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like Trump is announcing this, so I looked him up and stuff. You just couldn't get away from him anyway. I mean, now I feel like it's just starting to die down and it's been a few weeks. And yeah, I was just so disappointed by the things that I was listening to. Wasn't surprised, right? Not surprised. But yeah, he was a total Christian nationalist. It was giving, Nazi, like it was just not good. And so I don't understand the people who make excuses for him. I guess that's what Christian nationalists do. Their whole SS officers hiding behind, Christianity, because people were losing their minds. It's okay that they were sad, but they were like making it seem like he was another Christ or he was God. I found this whole thing to be very strange. They were also upset that people weren't mourning. Some people weren't mourning at the level that they were mourning. And I'm like, some of us didn't even know this man. And once we discovered who he was, we're uninterested. I recall when those politicians in Minnesota, these are politicians. By the way, Charlie Kirk was not a politician. He was an influencer. So just any regular Joe Schmo, okay, who just pops right-wing nonsense. And here are politicians who died in Minnesota. I don't even think Trump did anything related to the flag for them. I don't even think he even spoke publicly and addressed them. He didn't even address it. Like it was really horrible. I can't imagine what it must be like for those people's families. And so for them to be doing all this stuff, flying him on Air Force One, it was just very obnoxious and performative to me. Also, where was the compassion? There's so many people that there could have been compassion for. I didn't see any from the right wing. In fact, I believe one of Donald Trump's son laughed when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. Okay, so there's a lot of hypocrisy. Now, excuse me, I'm not saying we should stoop to anybody's level and do the nonsense that they're doing, but I am not going to shed a tear. The place that I am in my life is, okay, he's off the earth now. Okay, that's how I felt about it. Because I'm not sad. I don't think people should be going around doing that. I think you should be able to have public events and do it safely. But these same groups of people don't care about kids that are shot up in schools. Not enough to change the laws, not enough to, do anything about it. Excuse me. So I don't understand why we should be all bent out of shape. Like, in fact, I believe there was a school shooting that same day, and those kids didn't get coverage. I think 2 kids died. So I'm not understanding. It's not personal. I just don't. I got nothing. That's how I feel about it, and I'm not going to be bullied into thinking or saying otherwise. Yeah, he was not a good person. Period. That's it. That's all. So I'm really looking forward to seeing less and less of his name. I did not watch the funeral. I have no reason to, and I'm looking forward to seeing his name less and less, because they're totally trying to use this to start civil war and shenanigans. And it's kind of crazy because when it first happened, you had the orange one talking about some, oh, it was the left wing, and a lot of people, excuse me, on the right was saying it was a left wing before there was any evidence. I believe that they've been fabricating evidence that clearly they found out it was a magnet that did it, and they ain't been the same since. They still was saying all kinds of stuff and making threats, and so it's just a sad place that America is in right now, and I really do feel for the people who did not vote for this. You know what I'm saying? And to that point, I actually think the CK stuff, and I also think the eclipse is affecting people. I think that affected people. But I think the CK stuff is part of why some of these numbnuts are out here talking about some of the raptors happening. And I'm like, because I'm like, I thought America was great again. If America's so great, why is MAGA leading the charge about how the rapture was going to happen? Didn't you? Isn't this what you voted for? Don't leave so soon. It's just crazy to me. So I feel like that, because I consider myself a spiritual, not religious person. I feel like the eclipse energy totally is affecting people. But on top of that, I feel like whatever happened with CK and how it impacted people, it's making them have escapist fantasies. And I'm thinking, dogs, it's only going to get worse from here if this man's not removed from office. He's not even done with his first term. And this is what you wanted. Are you not entertained? It's so crazy to me that the people that wanted this are looking for their first flight out of here. Like, weak. Completely weak. So, meanwhile, the people suffering who didn't ask for this, are just trekking along and, just getting the work out of their life, trying to survive this mess. It's horrible. So I don't feel sorry for any of those people. Yeah, I just don't feel bad. And that takes a lot for me to say, but I said it and I'm not taking it back. I don't wish that it happened to him, but I don't feel bad that he has left this earth, because I believe the earth is doing better without hateful ass people like that. Period. So yeah, this rapture thing, all I'm gonna say about this is this. Now, I grew up in church, and I haven't read the Bible in a while, but I know enough about the Bible to know that it says nobody knows the hour or the day when Jesus is gonna come back. If you believe Jesus is coming back, if those are your spiritual beliefs. So I don't understand how people allow TikTok to I don't understand how, well, I do understand. I think it's religious psychosis. I believe this was a mass episode of religious psychosis, and people are engaging in hysterics. One person says something and then they jump on the wagon, and it's like, oh my gosh, yes, it's the same thing as the Haley Bop comment thing. It's reminiscent of Jim Jones stuff minus the Kool-Aid. Like, come on now. We have to think for ourselves. Again, if you believe, that's the thing. If you believe in the rapture, or you believe in Jesus returning, I should say, because the rapture is not really in the Bible. Like, that word itself is not in the Bible. But it's like, come on now. Like, I just didn't understand, like, which kind of Bible these people are reading. Like, it's so wild to me. So I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting up there laughing. I was cracking jokes, with my coworker. I'm like, you still here, girl? My business partner, she was like, yeah, I'm still here. It's just absurd. And so I think it just shows to me, again, everybody chooses their way that they're going to deal, even though this affected people. I think it's not just in America, but maybe across the world. I don't know. Excuse me, I don't have TikTok. But I think it kind of shows where people's mental state is. And yeah, times are bad. They're rough right now, particularly if you live in America, or you're observing America. It's just so sad. There's just this deep pain and sadness when you look at what's happening. And I'm starting to believe and realize, As much as I'm angry at the people who voted for him, I don't think some of them would have seen. I don't think some of these people are going to learn unless they can see this happening. And some of them still not going to learn, honey. Some of them will still see this and him doing all this stuff, and they will vote for him again tomorrow. And that's why I think it's a cult, because you're not even being logical anymore. You're just voting against your own interests. First, I believe that these hating assholes was voting against the interest of others, which they did. But now they're so sucked in by the cult of Conald that they voted against their own interests. Whether it's women or people of color or immigrants. I was laughing at a bunch of people in the beginning, especially people of color or immigrants who voted for him or thought that he was going to do something good. But now I actually feel compassion when I see these raids and stuff. That shit is not funny. That is not funny to me anymore. Because people are also getting sent to places that they don't belong, and people aren't even receiving due process. Like, it's not funny. It's horrible. And I don't even know what to say, because even if he somehow magically leaves office, what are we going to do with the rest of the trash administration? Like, what's going to happen? Or regime. Anyway, so much we can say there, so much we can unpack, but we just have to stay positive and keep it trucking. And one thing I will say is this: see, some people aren't built for surviving adversity, because once again, let them tell it, why privilege don't exist. Some people aren't built for that. They're used to getting what they want. They're used to, flexing and doing whatever, they're used to a lot of things. And so some people are really feeling the pinch right now, and they're not built for this. And you know what I mean, reading between the lines when I say they not built for this shit. So even though you wish this destruction and calamity on people, some are the first like I did, because they don't know for tech adversity. You don't know how to survive a hard day, a hard week, let alone a hard motherfucking year. Okay, so buckle up, buddies. Anyway, moving right along. So I had this weird dream. Excuse me. I had this real weird dream, and I'm not going to say names, but it was somebody from the beef sector. Now, what I found that was weird about this dream was that um I don't I first of all, I haven't watched the beef sector. I haven't read anything about the beef sector. Like, I've completely removed myself in terms of participating in that uh sector of YouTube. I used to even read like stuff on LSA. I don't even do that no more. I love LSA though, but I just don't read or care to. I don't care. And let me tell you something. Peace is priceless. But I'll get into that next about my reflections on leaving. And so I had this crazy ass dream, and I'll give you a hint. Some of you will figure it out, but I won't say any names. The dream was about a villain of the beef sector. Excuse me. And this is somebody who has caused a lot of pain and just strife for people, and we're gonna leave it there. Okay. So for this person to pop up in my dream was weird, because I wasn't thinking about them. I don't watch them. I didn't watch them before I left the beef sector. Like, even when I watched the beef sector, I refused to watch them. So excuse me. It's just crazy that they popped up into my dream. And so in this dream, I don't remember a lot. I should have written it down, but I'll tell you what I do remember. I remember, for some reason, the number 2 stands out to me. So I don't know if things were happening for a period of 2 weeks or 2 months, but this person was terrorizing me in the dream. Now, what I found ironic about them terrorizing me, they were just doing a lot of things to make my life miserable, all kinds of stuff. And I felt powerless in the dream. It was really strange, because um I don't feel that way in real life. And actually very rarely, even in dreams, sometimes that's when you're like, you feel like you get your extra boost or strength, or you eventually find a way to overcome things. And in my dream, I just couldn't shake this person off of me. I couldn't get them the F off of me. And I felt very unequipped. and I felt very hopeless in the dream. And I just finally I woke up, and I think it never finished, like it never got resolved. And it's just kind of like the best phrase I could think of was just somebody on your neck and you just can't get them off. And I remember waking up and asking, what was the significance of this dream? Because I'm not thinking about this person. I don't like this person. I don't watch them. I don't even know what the hell's going on with them. Pardon me. So I'm glad I asked the question, because then I started to really like dig deep, and it came to me that how I felt in the dream, like when I tell you I felt so, oh man, I just felt so defeated. I felt so powerless. I felt like none of this is going to change. It's going to keep getting worse. This person owns me. Like it was crazy. I felt like this is how some of this person's victims in the past have felt. That there have been scenarios that I'm aware of, some of them I'm not aware of, where people have been literally terrorized. I wasn't joking or exaggerating when I said that they've been terrorized by this person, that they've been terrorized and kind of like stalked and harassed by this person in the past. And the same feeling I had of just feeling stifled or feeling like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going, when is this going to end? I believe that's what those people felt too. I believe that when they were fooling with this person, fooling around with this person, they didn't see it coming. And when this person unleashed their wrath, fury, and tyranny on them, excuse me, it felt like a hellscape. It felt like I'm never going to pick up the pieces of my life. And it made me really sad, because even though that's not, like I said, I don't feel like it has anything to do with me, it made me sad for those people. And it made me wonder, oh, I wonder, are there still people like, still going towards that person, you know, um, like whatever magnetism that they think they have, like, are they still attracting people? Because there's always like a phase of attracting people and then making them feel special and then totally unleashing havoc on them, right? So that's how I felt. I felt really strongly that that was what the dream was trying to teach me. Like these people really went through it. And I hope that if anybody does see this, that's either had to deal with this person or is currently contemplating dealing with this person, I really hope you don't. Excuse me. I really hope you don't. It's not that I don't think people could change, but it was just crazy to me that that dream. Like I said, I don't think about this person. I didn't even remember about them. There's people that I think about from time to time from the beach sector. This is not one of those people. And so it's wild. Like, I really hope people are paying attention. And the other thing, that's kind of what made me have the reflections that I'm going to share with you now about leaving the beef sector. Because the other piece for me that came out of that dream was the other side of it was, wow, I don't even have to worry about this shit. I don't even have to worry about somebody trying to mess with my life in that way, because I don't fool around with with that sector of YouTube. And let me explain. So I feel like, excuse me, even when I didn't want to be a part of drama, even when I was just an observer or just a commentator of the drama, people would find ways to try to pull me in or to try to start stuff or to threaten you. People would try all kinds of stuff, you know, to get you to engage. And I'm good at ignoring people and things. I'm good at cussing people out too if I need to. But after a while, it's just a lot, right? Like, I didn't want to be going around cussing people off all the time or snapping on folks, because they were saying stuff and lying. And so I feel for me, this was also a reminder of like, yo, you don't even have to worry about this ish because you're not consuming this. Like, you're not hanging around, some of these people who are problematic. And so I want to share some things with you that I was thinking about like now that I, have fully removed myself. And to some people, they may be like, oh yeah, whatever, they might not believe me, don't care. Or they might be like, why are you still talking about it if you're over it? Because I can. And I think for me, this is a newer place because I have tried to walk away before. and I've had long stretches and stuff, but I've been pretty successful for a while now. And it makes me happy because peace really is priceless. Um, you know, I'm not judging anybody who still watches or who's still very active in that sector. You do you. But I know for me, it wasn't working anymore. And one of the things that stood out to me was people that don't value you. Are there people that I felt valued by? Sure. So we're not talking about those people. Shout out to the people. Some of them are still my subscribers. They still rock with me, right? I'm not talking about those people. I'm grateful for them. But some of the people who you choose to support don't value you. What do I mean? It was such a toxic place that you could go to spaces just to hang out. Again, not starting that with nobody, just hanging out, saying hi. And you have people drop down that try to start stuff with you. Now, there's two ways to handle that. You can ignore them, or you can, respond and give it back to them. Blocking them, same thing as ignoring them. And it was just, I blocked a lot of people. I did block a lot of people, but there was one person who I was watching for a while and I thought they were really entertaining. And, to me, again, I can't tell people how to run their channels, but for me, there's a certain level of respect when there's other content creators around. Like, even if it's somebody you don't like, if it's a content creator and I see them like getting harassed or I'm going to say something. I don't need people to fight my battles. That's not what it's about. But I just think there's a certain level of respect and etiquette that you can have if you know, like, assuming it's another content creator. And so I there was this one person who I supported. I would watch them. I would be their cheerleader for some things. And there was one time I was in their chat and there was this really obnoxious person. And I eventually blocked them. It was a day that I chose to argue with them. Sometimes I usually don't. I stopped arguing a long time ago because it's just so exhausting. And so they were saying so much crazy stuff. And I remember the content creator started laughing. And I said, it was crazy because to me, I was like, looking at this person like, oh, they're trying so hard. And that didn't even get to me. But what got to me was that the content creator was laughing. And I was like, you dumb bitch. I literally come to your chat all the time. I support you. I'm dropping dollars here and there. And you don't even have the decency. You don't even have the decency to be like, yo, y'all should chill. Or, be respectful to other content creators. None of that. You're sitting up there laughing. And so that's when I started paying attention. I'm like, you're trash. You're literally trash hidden behind all this stuff. And so, because I was thinking, like, I really started to ask myself questions. These are, and I tried, these are like my guiding questions that I try to ask myself whenever I feel that I'm not being my authentic self or I feel like it's in danger. Is this something I would do in person? Is this how I would treat this person if I was face to face with them? Or what would I do if this was happening in my face? If this was happening in my face, I would address it. I'd be like, God, yo, chill. So that's how I try to behave online, right? And so I would never laugh like in the face of a supporter while they're getting harassed. Like, it was just so crazy. And I was just like, yo, some of these people are, yeah, but so I was just like, oh, hell no. And you know what? I don't even think at that moment I really, really thought deeply about it. I think it bothered me, but then it didn't come back to me until, like I said, when I was reflecting, and I was like, wow, I'm so glad that I don't watch this person anymore among other people, because that is showing you, that's information. Sometimes we ignore relevant and valuable information about people. And that was something that I needed to pay attention to. And I got it. The other thing was people who are addicted to, I don't even know how to call this. Like, you're rooting for somebody to get out of a bad situation, and they're just constantly gravitating towards the people who are doing them the dirt, right? Like, after a while, you're just dumb. Like, this is not about reconciliation. This is about, you're doing this on purpose. You want to fight with this person. You want people to see this person treating you like garbage so that you can have something to talk about. Like, some of the things become apparent and you realize how cyclical it is. Because I'm like, if I had, not that this person is a friend, But like if I had a friend that continued to go into an abusive situation, I would definitely be having words with that friend. I can't tell them what to do. But after a while, I'm going to have to make a decision to be like, you know what? You keep choosing this drama. I'm going to have to separate myself because I don't want this following me home. And so that's kind of the other thing I noticed was people who constantly put themselves in toxic situations. Sometimes it was people bothering them, but sometimes it was them willfully putting themselves back in a place where they were dealing with crackheads, just dealing with people that constantly did dirt. And that lets you know that person doesn't love themselves. That person doesn't care about themselves. So what are they going to offer to you that's of value? Absolutely nothing. Fuckery and foolishness. And so that was my other thing was like pay attention to how people are treating other people, how they treat themselves, and how they allow other people to treat them. Because you can't expect nothing from somebody like that. You can't expect and what was I expecting? I, being the person that I am, I love spaces where there's a sense of camaraderie and emotional safety. Emotional safety is very important to me. Now, you can't guarantee that, but you can foster environments for that. And if you're constantly going to places where you don't feel emotionally safe, you need to evaluate that. You need to think about why am I going to these spaces and why am I attracted to these people and what are those people doing about it? What are the people in charge of those spaces doing about it? If they're not doing a goddamn thing, then you need to exit because you can't, there's nothing you can do, right? And so I decided that I was going to be in spaces that was more emotionally safe for me. When I work with clients, one of the things that people love about me is that I create that space for them. I do that naturally, not bragging. It's just a strength of mine. I like when people feel safe. I like when people can come in and sit down and not worry that somebody's going to run up on them or jump down their throats. That is something that I like to provide for people. And so if I can't go to a space and feel that, and that's not important to you, I don't want to be in your space because that tells me you're a tegger egg, you're a warmonger, and you're also a cauldron of hate, possibly. So that was another lesson that I was reflecting on. Just like other than people not valuing you, there's no sense of safety. Safety is important, especially as a trauma survivor, guys. Like I'm a survivor of trauma, and one of the things that I've prioritized for myself, is to make sure I'm safe. I'll tell you a story. So when I was in undergrad, I had this friend group. And I went through a couple of iterations of friend groups before I found my core people, right? And so one of the earlier groups, and I still know this person to this day, so I wouldn't say I'm not friends with them because I don't talk to them like that. They're in another country and I haven't connected with them in years. But this person, I've noticed that they would go from 0 to 100 over nothing. And worse, they would only do it with specific people. They didn't do it with everyone, right? I felt like they were doing it with people that they thought they can get away with it with, that they thought they could bully, right? And now the crazy part here is this person actually has a gentle side. They were funny, they were talented. I was a really good writer, and there were other times I enjoyed being around them. And I had an incident, like I had a couple incidents with them where we would just be talking and then we disagreed about something and they would just snap out on me like just like rabid, like crazy. And it really brought me back to this place. And I was like, why does like because I am not the type of person that will take shit like that lightly. But I was so taken aback by this person's behavior because it came out of nowhere. I didn't even know how to respond to them. And that was when I realized how unsafe I felt around them. Like it took me a while, but I was like, I felt unsafe. Let me tell you when I figured it out. Years later, we went to a mutual friend's wedding, and I'm thinking this person has grown light years since then. And don't you know that person had another outburst towards me, not towards the other people, but towards me. And the same feeling came back. And that was when I cut that person off for good because I was like, oh, hell no. Like, you think you're going to get crazy with me. You don't know I'm a ticking motherfucking time bomb if I need to be, but I'm not going to do that because I'm working on my healing. And I can tell this person was like, they needed to work on that, right? It was so crazy. And so that led me to realize that feeling that I felt was feeling emotionally unsafe. I didn't know when this person would snap out on me, and I didn't know for what. When you don't, you should know, like you should be able to tell the triggers or see it coming. With this person, you just never knew they would just snap out on you. And I did not like that. That felt very unsafe. And so I just like moved away from them. And that is the same thing that I'm talking about. When you go to a space online, you shouldn't have to worry about people flipping out on you. There is this other person that will remain nameless. They're not beef sector, but super toxic personality. And first they started out, they were really entertaining. They did celebrity stuff. And then you just realize more and more this person is super toxic. And I would just watch people go like flock to her, and she would say the meanest, nastiest things to her supporters, not the people that didn't like her, the supporters. And they would sit there and they would take that shit crazy, right? So, anyway, the other thing is people do the same shit ish on repeat. I have since watched so many shows. I caught up on Charm. I'm watching Outlander. I watch Hilda. I'm watching shit that's new content. I don't have to see you bring up stupid shit like CPS all the time. Remember when Pressure Cooker did this in 2019? Remember when Roscoe ate chicken 2 days ago, 2 months ago? I don't give a fuck about that shit. That's dumb. Bring me some new shit. And people can't. People can't. They just love regurgitating stuff. And it was just becoming old and tired, and I was sick of it. And that was another reason. I'm like, I'm not even entertained anymore. Because now this is just fighting. This is just destruction. And you're literally choosing the worst possible outcome. You're doing the same. You already dated this person. They already did you dirty the last 3 times. Why would you do it a fourth? Now I feel like you're playing in my face. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, like where it's just like, this is not entertaining. Like I said, I've been watching some poppin' shows. Okay, The Sandman, that's my shit. I love The Sandman. I would really encourage you to watch that. Dead Boy Detective Club. I've watched so many entertaining things, expanded my worldview, since leaving the beef sector. And not only am I entertained, I don't have to have my job threatened. I don't have to have stupid threats from people. I don't have to wake up to dumb comments on my wall. I don't have to worry about none of that shit because I've removed myself. And so to me, it's priceless. These type of things are priceless. There's absolutely nothing that can draw me back to, like, it's just dumb. It's dumb. The last thing I'm going to talk about is elevation is degraded. Okay, elevation is shaded. And when people are engaging in degradation, that's praised. What do I mean? If you're about something, if you try to better your life and your money legally, your education, building your family, people aren't excited about that in the beef sector. People don't want to hear that shit. People don't want to hear about how you're doing well and opportunities that you're getting, that you're trying to save for a house or get a house or buy a property. They don't want to hear that because they're jealous. Every time somebody comes on here and says something positive and good, what do? Oh, they lying. Oh, they must have stole that money. Oh, this is not going to work out. They just speak death over it. They speak a lot of death, and they speak a lot of things on the stuff. So, I don't, some of that stuff can have power. I think if we hand our power over to those people, I think it can have power. Next thing you know, you're planning something and it falls through because you decided to associate yourself with people who believe elevation is trash, okay, and engaging in, degradation is better. So, what are the things that people get excited about? People completely disrespecting people, cutting people down, calling to ruin people's lives, their jobs, their families. That's the type of stuff that gets people excited. That's the type of stuff that people cheer on. They love it. They love to see it. And so when you're in places like that, I feel like that messes with your own manifestation. That messes with your own ability to generate in your life, to manifest in your life, to move forward, to be a better person. Because there's no way, if there are other people there who want positive things, but there's not enough of them. There's not enough of us. There weren't enough of us. And so what happens? Either you're going to stay there and you're going to slowly bleed over to the other side where you become grumptastic and you wish people bad and tell them so their event going to fall apart and all this stuff and speaking death over them and all this nonsense. Or you're going to remove yourself. You're going to remove yourself. You're going to choose to not be entertained. See, because you can't just look from the ivory tower, which is LSA. That's what they think they are. Because I used to do the same thing and just be like, oh, yeah, this is hilarious. No, you're a part of it. You're very much a part of it, too. Don't plague yourself. And so it's just, I don't know. I feel like I have gotten so much more clarity and I have gotten so much more peace that I really like. And I've checked out more content in different places and I really like it. I don't like when you're in a relationship with people and one moment you feel like, okay, yep, we can collaborate, we can do this. And the next minute you're worried about them on somebody else's channel dragging you. You never had an issue. As far as you know, stuff was cool. I don't have time for that stuff. And that's part of why the first round of people that I cut off, a lot of I call them the elders. And it's sad because they are elders, but they were not valuable elders to me because of the behavior that they were engaging in. And I felt like some of those people, either they were like, oh, like they pretended like they didn't know or just said weird stuff. And then all of a sudden, when there's drama, pressure cooker, come over to my channel, just weird behaviors. No, thank you. No, thank you. You can keep that. So those were just people that I'm like, oh no. And there were positive elders. There were positive elders in the beef sector that I liked. And I don't know if they're still there, but there were definitely people that I liked that I felt like they were spreading positive messages. And even if they liked a little mess, you would never see them showing their ass on Front Street. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, then there were other people that were just fake as fuck. Look, if I find out that you're just super fake, we're done. Like, there is no coming back from that. Especially if you do it directly to me. Nah. And I'm talking about like, you see me, I've come to your channel, I've talked to you, I've donated money, then you're gonna be like, I don't know who that is. And then when there's drama, you're like, oh yeah, come over, pressure cooker. No, go take you a Sudafed, sweetheart. I don't want to have nothing to do with your channel and the bullshit that you got over there. So anyway, those were my thoughts and my reflections on what I've learned from and just things I see in the beef sector. That it's not a judgment on people. These are just my thoughts. This is how I'm reacting to things, and I'm really happy. If I want to watch something with drama, it's just going to be different. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. I think that brings too much bad energy to people's lives. Personally, there was so much death. After a while, it was like so much death started happening. People couldn't hold on to things. Like, this is another sign. The more I learn about spirituality, do you notice that things just slip through people's fingers? Oh, I got a house. Next thing you know, what a house there. Oh, I got a new job. It's popping. It don't last. This is what I'm saying. When you choose to surround yourself with this type of bullshittery, stuff is just going to slip through your fingers. It's going to slip through your fingers. Either it's because hating assholes is going to try to take it away from you, or you're not vibrating on a level where you could keep those things in your hand. They're just going to slip right through your fingers. And so once I learned that, I was like, yeah, no, it's a wrap. And so I'm happy. Also, having my son changed me a lot. I can't be walking around in the kitchen playing stuff on my phone, and every 2 seconds, it's just crazy-ish, and that I won't repeat. I couldn't do that. So I had slowly stopped listening for a while because I was like, oh yeah, I can't play this. And then I started asking myself, oh, I can't play this for my son, but why? It's not just the cursing. It's the content. And I was like, and I just started asking myself questions about, why am I drawn to this content? Why? This is the same thing I would ask the clients, right? Somebody came in my office and, they're trying to figure out why they couldn't get away from something toxic. I would ask them what it does for them. You have to figure out what it does for you. You have to figure out how it gets its hooks in you. Hopefully, you don't even have to worry about it because you just don't go. But that's all I got to say, y'all. These were my reflections on the topic. Let me see if I covered all my stuff. Yep, I talked about that crazy ass dream. I talked about CK's death. I guess I'll close with this since I still have, what time is it? Yeah, I got like 5 or 10 minutes. So, um, there's just so much. I'm going back to the Trump regime. There's so much that I've learned from watching this mess unfold that is the Trump regime. And I think, I don't know, I don't even know where to start with some of it, but one of the things that I realize is that people underestimate how strong other people are. Just like I was saying before, I was saying it real sassy, but some people aren't built for certain levels of adversity. Okay. And so while you're trying, what it was it Sealy? The jail you built for me is the jail you're gonna rot in? Okay, y'all remember Color? Shout out to Color Purple, one of my favorite movies. Okay, people they spent time trying to craft, you know, different jails for people, whatever it is, or different hellscapes, and then they ended up getting caught up in the same hellscape. Baby, they don't know how to escape it. They're looking around like, who got my back? You know what I'm saying? That has to be really disorienting for some people. You know what that reminds me of? Did y'all see Sinners? Yo, I watched Sinners twice. I know I'm late to the party. I watched Sinners like the first time maybe a month ago or so. And then I watched it again a few weeks after that. It was so good. There's so many gems in there. I feel like some of these people, they remind me of, remember the first, if you didn't watch Sinners, then just stop listening to this, or unless you think you're not going to watch it. But the first couple that Remick stopped at, right? Remick stopped there, and he looked like he was about to combust because it was daytime, and it was still light out. And then the Choctaw tribe came to that same couple. It was like, yo, you got to be careful. I hope you're not holding this dude in your house. And it reminds me, I feel like the Trump supporters remind me of though that couple that Remick first came to, right? Let's think of Remick as like the devilish figure or whatever. And the reason why he was alluring was, see, Remick was smart. Remick isn't actually racist in real life, even though he's a vampire. He's not racist. He saw the hood in the back and he knew, because he remember he was trying to get them to let him in and they wouldn't at first. And he was like, oh yeah, the Indians are coming to get me. Da, 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 da. The Choctaw tribe is coming to get me. And they were like, oh, there's nobody like that around here for miles. And so then he peeped that they had the hood in the back. So he saw he knew what type of people they were. So he started adding some extra stuff in there, saying stupid stuff to kind of hype them up. And I feel like this is the Trump supporters. They don't need a lot to hype them up. They don't need a lot. You just got to sprinkle a little bit of racism, a little bit of classism, a little bit of I'm better than them, and then that's it. We're friends. And so next thing you know, Remick is in their house. Next thing you know, their jugglers are missing. I think it's the same thing here, that people really miss the cues, they miss the sign, and it doesn't take much. You just have to join me in my message of hate, and we can be friends. But that is not going to sustain them. That is not going to keep them through these difficult times, unless you're borrowing supplies from your neighbor, your hating ass neighbor. That's not what's going to sustain you. It's going to be, what skills and resilience have you built up to this point? Okay. Prior to this. Because if you're just getting it now, oh honey, that's why your fingers are hurting in your strawberry field. That's why you thought black people was going to come with their jobs. They have, 2, 3, 4 degrees, but they're going to come pick strawberries for you after you done kicked out your workforce. if you don't get the fuck out of here, like that is so crazy. The audacity of some of these people, So you got what you voted for, but you're still unhappy. And now the gag is, did you see how when CK just died, there was a whole bunch of white supremacists um threatening HBCUs, threatening HBCUs. Now that they had absolutely nothing to do with shooting that man, but they were getting threats, and I think a couple of the schools went on lockdown. And it's just like you're just looking for a scapegoat. You really are chomping at the bit to come at Black and brown people some more. That is so sad. Can you imagine how much stupidity and hate has to be in your heart? That is what you resort to, that you just can't wait. You just can't wait. But let me tell you something. Some of these same people they gonna get ran down on. And then I'm not talking about they might not get run down on by a Mack truck. Or they might not even get physically ran down upon with pew pews and chop chops. They gonna get ran down on. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna do it. But there's other ways for people to get ran down on. So while they're sitting up there threatening people, it's different times. It's different times. They need to get it together. So, it's just sad, but I just see so much, and I I would not, I mean, I have family and I'm really hoping I could just get them here to Canada. And I have people that I love and care about in the States, but I would not want to step foot in the States right now. Like that energy is just like, and you know what else I peep, guys? This really saddens me to say this. Not that I didn't have a sense of this before, but I have a stronger sense of this now. I feel like a large amount of Democrats are in on this. Hear me out. Okay. I do identify as a Democrat. I identify as a liberal. I feel like the Democrats have been sitting ducks while Trump is laying waste to the damn Constitution. Okay. The one thing I'm gonna give the Republicans, they know how to fight. They may be cheaters and they may be horrible, but they don't just lay down and take shit. And the Democrats, I've rarely seen. There's only a few people who I feel who's just come out swinging, and I find that weird. I'm like, how are you? Are you benefiting from this somehow? You have to ask those questions because, like, I don't understand. You were elected to do a job, and there's just people sitting back watching stuff. Like, have there even been articles of impeachment against this man? They haven't even done that. You got Nancy and I'm sure Nancy's still getting her nails done. It's just these people, I don't understand them at all. That, like, I don't understand. And I'm starting to think, because a lot of them got money. A lot of them, their salaries are probably chump change to them, right? They got money. And so I'm wondering if it's just that it's not hitting them yet, or if some of them are in cahoots with the GOP, because how do you just sit back? Now, we know there's also the Supreme Court who's trash. We know that the Supreme Court, we can't rely on them because they're compromised, okay? There's a large number of them that were brought in by Donald Trump, and, this is how Roe v. Wade got overturned. We know that. We know that's the situation. But I don't know, y'all. Like, does anybody else feel like that? Does anybody else feel like oh, shoot, I've been missing all these people. I'm sorry, y'all. I am so sorry. This never happened to me before because I live for the chat. Shout out to Shish Trish. Shout out to Deidre. Thank you for being here. I am so sorry. Ciao. I feel like a numbnut over here. That shows you I haven't been on StreamYard in a while. I said because I was expecting it to show me 2 comments like a number. It didn't say anything. I just thought I've gotten no comments. So my bad, y'all. My bad. But yeah, so I'm starting to think they're in on it. I'm starting to think some of them are in on it because at the end of the day, it's about money. Look at these billionaires, okay? Look at these billionaires, and how they living. But did you see what happened with the Jimmy Kimmel stuff? I don't even watch Jimmy Kimmel, but I'm happy for him. Baby, mad people cut off their Disney Plus app. They canceled their vacations to Disney. When I tell you Disney was getting that ass rat-a-tat-tatted, okay, they lost billions of dollars. They lost billions of dollars. I mean, don't feel sorry for them. And I hope they lose some more. Because this is not about Jimmy Kimmel. This is about freedom of speech. And did you also, even some of the Republicans, the right wingers were like, no, this is not a good thing. They don't like Jimmy Kimmel, but they know that's going to be them next. See, that's smart. You, just like Angela Davis said, if they come for me in the morning, they're going to come for you at night. We make that mistake too much of thinking that, oh, it's only going to happen to those people over there. Oh, I don't got to worry about it. It's just the people over there. I've been peep game. You always got to keep your head on a swivel because you just, when they try shit, they may try it with you too. So, and I don't understand how some of these people, even the Supreme Court, how he don't turn around and change stuff. He's done enough things before where he's disrespected the Constitution. Child, I'm not gonna say it, but anyway, a mess. Hang in there. Um, yeah, I don't know because I don't. JD Vance. People say JD Vance is going to be worse. I don't think he's going to be worse. I think Trump is the worst. Is JD Vance evil? Absolutely. But I don't think JD Vance can wield the sword of MAGA. They're not going. MAGA's not going to follow him like that. He may retain some of the base. I don't think he can command the MAGA army, not in the way that Trump could. So that's why if Trump is out of the picture, I actually think there's some leeway there because a lot of people view Vance as incompetent and just foolish. And he's a whole bunch of things. So I really don't think so. And then by the time you have him come in, the rest of the administration, the rest of the regime is already incompetent. You got Hegseth, okay, he drinking his life away. Okay. Even Janine Pirro, she's drinking her life away. That woman is a hot mess, y'all. This administration is a hot mess. Kash Patel, even don't know which direction I want to go. Okay, he don't know if it's Nordic or if he's Indian. Okay, he's posting evidence. He's posting evidence from an active investigation on Twitter. Make it make sense. Who else? What are the other trash bags? Don't get me started on Stephen Miller's ugly ass. He's evil as hell. As a matter of fact, I think he might actually be the most evil of them. And I think he pulls a lot of strings in the background. I think Stephen Miller is the great puppet master. I think he does a lot of stuff, but he's not the face of it. And I also want you guys to know, I read yesterday that the Trump administration is rehiring a bunch of federal workers, a bunch of federal workers that they fired. How's that for efficiency? I'm glad those people are getting their jobs back. However, I did read today that Trump and his trash ass party are using the firing of people as leverage to get their way to quote unquote prevent a government shutdown. And they said that if the Democrats don't get them what they want, they're going to start firing people. So is this the reason why you're offering back these fake jobs? Like, these people are so wicked. So wicked. It's just a mess. But anyway, y'all, let me stop running my mouth. I need to go. Once again, I'm sorry that I missed your comments. That is so crazy. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. Yes. And I still follow Deidre. I do. Deidre, I still follow you because you've always had other content. It's not just that. You've always had stuff other than just Beef Sector. So, shout out to Miss Deidre. There's people that I still follow. Like if they have other stuff, like I follow Miss Manny. I follow Stinks Girl, but she hasn't really been doing anything. She's been kind of chill for now. But there's people that I still follow, y'all. Binge Thinker, I still follow, but they don't always put stuff out. There's a lot of people. The people know who they are, right? There's a lot of awesome people. Shush Trish. I listen to Shush whenever there's stuff that's not the Beef Sector. I don't like if you post a lot of Beef Sector stuff. Sometimes I take a break because, like I said, I really don't want to see I don't even want to know what's going on. But Shush Trish, she has like different types of content. Pardon me. And I try to focus on the other stuff because y'all, my life has been so much better. So much better. Let's read what Miss Deidre said. What used to be the beef sector felt like racism to me. I'm Creole, lots of hate. There is a lot of hate. There's a lot of racism and there's a lot of colorism in the beef sector. They don't like light skinned people either. And I know they're going to get mad. Because first they tried to say it's just the dark people. Some people don't like dark skinned people, and then there's other people that don't like light skinned people. Colorism. It's all colorism, y'all. I'm glad the merge erased it off YouTube. Yes. Is that what happened? Oh, Miss Deidre, you got to fill me in. I don't care about six dead sectors and words. I didn't even know about the merge. I don't know who merged. Right? Come we're coming soon. Thank you. Watch your content. Retired. Yes. Oh, Miss Deidre. Miss Deidre stay pumping out content. She don't mess around. But it's like, y'all. No, sad, 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 sad. And you know what's crazy? I'm gonna say this: a lot of people have potential. I think maybe part of the point of people sticking around too is some of those people are really talented, whether it's with comedy, whether it's writing or acting. There's a lot of cooking. There's a lot of different people who had mad different talents. Singing, there's lots of musicians, and over there. Like there's stuff that they can do, but people just chose the muck. They just chose, to be in the F-ish over and over, over, over. It's sad. So, whatever. One day we learn. But sometimes when I look back and I see, because YouTube is a messy bee, I'm gonna tell you why YouTube is messy bee. It'll pop stuff up that I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, I forgot about this video. It could be, it's like one of my videos, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is from 5 years ago. Is that how long it's been? Like sometimes I'm like, this is crazy. It's crazy how time flies on here. Anyway, y'all, peace and blessings to you. Much love to you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Shout out to the two people who held me down in the chat, who was here listening. If you listen to the replay, thank you so much. I really would like to do a live every week. I'm trying. I got a little bit more flex time now. I'm trying. I'm without my kiddo at home, so I'm gonna try. I do miss these. I do miss it. Anyway, much love to y'all. Have a fabulous day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.